Me and Hannah are not necessarily we're not best friends, we're working through that. It's hard to see someone the way it was portrayed on the camera. It was hard to see her be that way. So we're working on that as friends, but we'll see.
Because I feel like at the reunion, people were definitely taking sides. So I did feel like you and Hannah were best friends, but you're saying you're not.
Yeah, at the reunion, we're friends, but it wasn't about sides at the end of the day. I do think the way that Hannah acted was really horrible towards Nick, and I got to know Nick a lot in the pods. We dated for quite some time, and so watching on the screen, I was very shocked. But
I give everyone grace for reacting the way they did, but at the same time, I felt as though Nick was very patient throughout the entire experiment, as we saw on camera, and at the reunion, the same thing. You tried to defend Hannah and say, we're different, we're ready to move on, but we still wanted to go at Nick, and it just didn't feel. It felt a bit manufactured. It felt a bit performative, and I just didn't enjoy it. It's not a good feeling for me. I felt as though if we're really here for growth and learning, there's a better way to go about it than what we're doing here. So it just was frustrating to watch, and I was squirming a bit, and I afterwards feel man, I probably shouldn't have said anything, but it's just frustrating to watch that happen.
Did he ever talk to you about Hannah's looks?
Every time I spoke to Nick face to face, he always had nothing but nice things to say. And truly, I was convinced he was in love with her and was attracted to her and was into it from every conversation I ever had with him after Cabo. So,
because do you think he was there for the right reasons?
Whether he went into it for the right reasons or not, I do genuinely feel like Nick was bought into it once he got into it.
Okay.
Hey, oh my God, my throat. My throat is super bad. But hey, you guys, I am back with another video. Literally, there has been, I said I was going to be done with, talking about Love is Blind on this channel, but nope, there has been so much Love is Blind tea that just has been spilling out when it comes to these podcasts and stuff like that, and just these interviews. Some people from the cast, I think it was Nick, Marissa, Tyler, and Leo, a few of the cast members went on CBS News, maybe DC Washington, I don't know, to go speak on interviews. And then you had Garrett speaking on a podcast, spilling tea that the reunion was performative when you had all the girls going on at Nick when it came to Nick saying that Hannah was not attractive, and Garrett actually says on a podcast or some interview that Nick was actually attractive to Hannah, and then he was whether or not he came on the show for fame, at the end of the day, he wasn't as bad as people may seem him to be. So I'm first going to talk about the whole Hannah and Marissa friendship situation, because I was watching an interview where Marissa, Nick was at, Tyler was at, basically a few of those cast members were at this interview and they were answering questions. And so I think it came down to Marissa, and I think the person asked oh, are you and Hannah still best friends? And Marissa basically says no, me and Hannah are not best friends anymore. We just stopped being friends after the reunion. And honestly, I already knew this was coming. I don't know why it took the guts for me to be smarter than Marissa and just already know that oh yeah, Hannah is not a good friend for you. And I'm kind of actually not surprised that Marissa and Hannah stopped being friends, stopped being best friends right after the reunion. And I was also seeing another TikTok where this one guy or one girl was saying that or it was, no. I think it was a YouTube podcast. I was watching a podcast on YouTube, and I think either this girl or guy, she was saying how everybody is scared of Hannah, and basically how Marissa is scared of Hannah, Katie is scared of Hannah. That's why you had everybody basically crying. That's why you had Katie crying on the stage about I would felt terrible when I saw this on air on TV and stuff like that. Hannah saying this stuff about me on TV, and you had Katie crying on stage, basically being I felt horrible. And then Hannah was I could trust you as my best friend. So I think a lot of people were scared of Hannah, and they were afraid to literally argue against Hannah. And I think Marissa was also afraid to make Hannah take accountability for how her actions were towards Nick, basically. So I think Marissa did not have the backbone to make Hannah take accountability, because Hannah is the biggest bully of the season. Like, Hannah was the biggest bully of the season. I mean, when she's on stage, it's like she be whispering to Marissa behind people's back, like when the reunion was going like this. And then also like these friendships, I think somebody commented this on my Instagram threads. Let me actually go pull it up. But basically, I was like, I made a thread basically, and it was like people were like saying that like the friendships this season are like very awkward. I cannot seem to find it. I can't seem to find it. I can't seem to find it. I really can't seem to find it. Like I seriously just cannot seem to find this. Oh yeah, okay. This is what the person commented. I think they commented this 5 hours ago. They commented, these best friendships from this season are built from desperation and have the strength of one-ply toilet paper. They should really do some self-reflecting. So literally, I feel like that this season has been like a season like season 5. It's like every fall season Love is Blind. It's like we got a season like every other season. There's like a season where it's like friendships with like mean girls, people running up against each other, like friendships with people getting like, it's like they did this last season where everybody was ganging up on Sarah Ann and Jeremy, like at the reunion. Like, and I think it was I think this season, like this reunion to me was actually kind of good because it was just like, it was giving last season of Love is Blind where it was like everybody was ganging up on one person. I was just like, I don't like that, but it was dramatic to me. And so basically, Marissa on this interview is saying that like her and Hannah are not friends. And I got a lot to say about this. I honestly just feel like that from like me as a viewer seeing this, if I knew Marissa in real life, like I would tell her like, yo, like Hannah is not the real friend for you. And I was kind of side-eyeing Marissa when she was like calling Hannah her best friend and then partnering up with Hannah at the reunion basically, and then yelling at Nick being like, yeah, like you were calling her a grenade. And then you had even Monica chiming in. It was just like everybody at one trying to get this little bit of like fame, trying to like do this big moment on the reunion. But with the whole Hannah and Marissa not being friends anymore situation, this is kind of like one of the most dramatic friendships that like I've seen in this Love is Blind franchise. Because just like, okay, so like basically Hannah just claims that anybody could be her best friend. I'm just like, is Katie not seeing, because I don't know if Katie and Hannah are still best friends, but did Katie not see how mean Hannah was? So it's just like, Katie, like if you saw how mean Hannah was to Nick, do you really want that to be your friend in real life? Like, do you want a friend like Hannah? Like, I'm just like, could Katie wake up as well? But I'm just like, Marissa, like, why were you best friends with this girl? Why were you best friends with this girl? If like, did you like before you guys were even filming for the show, did you like, and you met Hannah, like, did you kind of see like if she would be like a little bit mean mug, or did you kind of see that like some little bit of like, just weird type of vibe that Hannah would have to her? Like, did you and Hannah like ever get into some altercation? Like what I don't understand. And I'm just like, for Marissa to go sit there and basically go harder on Nick than her man is diabolical to me. And then for you to basically partner up with Hannah, call her your best friend, which now I just think that it was just all for the TV screen and views. I'm like, okay, like I really love Marissa as a person on this show, but I'm just like, I'm starting not to really like her, which it's just a character. It's like just people on TV, but I'm starting not to really like her after this reunion. Cause I'm just like, for you to go sit here and basically cry for Ramses so hard and stuff like that, how like Ramses was like saying that your energy was too much, and then basically for you to not even like grill Ramses enough at the reunion, and basically for you to go harder on Nick than Ramses, to me it's just like, it's foul, because it's just like, okay, so now you're going hard on Nick and you already know that like Nick was already getting beaten up and abused verbally. You watched the show with us, Marissa. You already know that like Nick was getting abused verbally by Hannah and stuff like that. And so it's just like, for you to then go partner up with Hannah after you saw how mean she was to Nick, it's like, I think it would have been better if you defended Nick maybe and you came harder for Ramses as well, and you like were like if you it would have been beneficial if you came harder for Ramses. I'm just like, okay, now I could see why Ramses a little bit broke up with you. Could have just like, okay, you're not somebody who stands on business. Like, you're just way too desperate. And so maybe did they give Ramses a bad edit? Did they really give Ramses a bad edit on this show? Because I'm starting to think like, okay, like you're over here going super hard on Nick, and you're partnering up with Hannah for what? Like, what was the reason? I'm just like, okay, if you saw how abusive Hannah was on the show, then why didn't you take the guts to be like, okay, you know what? I don't want to be friends with this person. I'm no longer friends. Like, why didn't you take the time to distance yourself from Hannah if you saw her actions, how crazy this girl's actions was? Like, I don't know, are we not watching the same show? And it's just like, for you to then go partner up with Hannah, go very hard on Nick, to me that's disrespectful. And then for you to be in the same interview as him, I'm just like, that's a little bit weird to me. And I don't know, like, I'm just like, maybe you need to go check yourself, like maybe you need therapy. But I'm just okay, like, I see you got a new man, like congrats to that. But I'm just like, the fact that you decided that Hannah was really a good friend for you. Like, Hannah, like Marissa, do you not see, like, you are a totally different person from Hannah? So I'm just like, that to me is diabolical. And so for you to now not be friends anymore, the audience is like, we told you so. Like, we literally told you so that, like, this girl, this girl literally was not a real friend. Like, we straight up told you so. So I'm just starting to think, like, I'm kind of, does Hannah really have any friends on this cast? Like, that's what I'm trying to see. Like, does Hannah have any real friends on this cast? Because, I mean, I see her, like, with Brittany and Leo, but I'm just like, do you have any other friends on this cast? Like, it's just a little bit dramatic of, like, for people to still be, like, and even AD, when AD was, like, hyping up Hannah, like, don't get me wrong, like, now I love me some AD now. I love me some AD. But for AD to even be, like, laughing with Hannah and like hyping up Hannah, like, girl, it's okay. I'm like, AD, like, you are friend. Like, did you not see how mean this guy was to Nick? Did you not see how mean this girl was to Nick? And then even with the whole journal situation, I'm just like, if anything, Hannah, you came on the show for clout. And like, okay, yeah, like, Nick was whispering things behind people's back about how like you're a grenade, but it's just like, literally, I feel like that you were mean more. I literally feel like that Hannah was like, you were mean too. So I'm just like, it comes across of like Hannah that like you are just very hypocritical. Cause I'm just like, for you to go sit here and be like, yeah, Nick was whispering things behind my back, and then for you to go be saying like, oh, like Nick behind the scenes was such a mean guy, but then on camera he was just like, oh, I just love you, Hannah. And then for you to basically say like that Nick was trying to get a good edit, I think that like Nick deserves to get a good edit because he was not abusive towards you. Okay, maybe the whole like, and I heard somebody say this, like, maybe the whole, like, okay, we're filming a TV show was annoying, but it's just, like, for you to go sit here and be like, Nick was mean, you were mean, too, and if you saw how mean and where Nick was, why didn't you break it off earlier, then? That's my thing. So it's just, like, if anything, you kind of came on the show for clout as well, because I'm just like, okay, so you're over here starting all these fights with, Nick, just to create a scene on television, just to make a big moment like Jess from last season. Like, I'm just like, Hannah, I think you also came on the show because literally, Hannah, you quit your job, and I think, Hannah, you quit your job because you thought that you would be getting brand deals after filming the show. I'm just like, so Hannah, how is quitting your job really ideal for a TV show? Because me personally, and I said this on my threads, me personally, quitting my job for a reality show would never slide with me. I would never quit my job for a reality show. For anything, I would literally like take some days off or like take some notice hours off or whatever like that and return back to work once we land into our respective cities and stuff like that of where we're filming at, you know. I'm just like, Hannah, like, it's kind of dumb for you to quit your job for the show, which kind of shows why you came on the show for clout. I'm just like, people quit their job for this show because I'm just like, people are also saying this all over TikTok and YouTube. Why would you quit your job for this? Like, I don't think a person who is desperate for marriage, I don't think they would really like go on a reality show. Like, Hannah, did you not see how famous Hannah, I think you saw how famous people got from past seasons, from season 4, 3, 2, 1, even season 5. People got 200,000 followers. So it's just like, Hannah, like, you know how big this show is when it comes to fame and social media. And so I'm just like, Hannah, you knew what you were doing. And I'm just like, kind of like, Hannah, it's kind of dumb for you to quit your job for the show when literally like you quit your job for the show, but then literally like after filming, people are not going to see you on TV for a year. After filming, you're going to have to find another job because you only get like $8,000. And this is on one of my other videos, but literally like after you're done filming the show, all you get just from filming the show is $8,000. Then a year later, you have to wait literally a year later to get aired on the show. And that's even if you get, and then that's when you start gaining followers. And then that's where you could quit your job. If you're getting followers and getting views and like getting the brand deals lined up for you, okay, then quit your job. That makes so much sense. But I'm just like, if you don't quit your job when all you're going to get from right now is just, you being filmed by producers and probably abused by producers, but then also only $8,000 from it. So then what are you going to do? If you really were not planning on working forever, you basically did a Steven. If you weren't planning on working forever, what are you going to do? Move back to your parents' house and live with them for a whole year until you get brand deals and then move back to like in another apartment? That doesn't make any sense to me. And then it's just like, okay, my thing is, Hannah, like you were the biggest clout chaser this season. Cause I'm just like, quitting your job for a TV show is diabolical. Okay, if it's kind of like, it would be different if like, okay, you didn't quit your job and like you still had your job, but still, anybody who goes on this show to find love now, it's not really for love. Like I just don't see, cause it's just like you literally know you're gonna be on TV. You literally know that you're gonna be shown to millions of people. So it's just like you kind of are already. And some girls said this I'm gonna keep on saying this. Some girl from season 5 Love is Blind said this. They said that when they got on the show, they were like, oh, I could get married on the show, or I could even be big on the show. And they only had like 1,000 followers out of the show. But it's just like, at the end of the day, like when people who go on this show, y'all are all clout chasers. Even Marissa chiming on with Hannah and being like, yeah, like so maybe Nick, you didn't come on the show for the right reasons. Marissa, you probably came on the show for clout as well. Because I'm just like, anybody who literally applies for a dating show is trying to get that fame. They're trying to get that bag. And I'm just like, why wouldn't it be ideal for Nick to write that on his paper? Like, I want to be the most famous person on Love is Blind. Like, okay, so be it. Let him have that goal. Literally, you have people like AD, Lauren, Cameron, Damian, Gianna, Jessica, Chelsea, the other Chelsea, literally get like 100 plus followers. People have gotten up to 1 million followers on this show. Yes, I will have that goal too on my journal, but why even go into my journal? Now that is just dramatic to me. Why even decide to go on my journal? Like that to me is just the most craziest thing I've ever seen. Cause just like, it don't make no sense that you're over here up in my journal, reading all my notes and stuff like that, all my bullet points, for then you to basically be like, oh, I read your journal. Like, why read my journal? And I even saw somebody else say this, like another cast member say this from like a past season, saying that like, oh, I barely even know you. Why are you in my journal? Why are you reading my journal? It's just like, okay, yeah, you read my journal after the show, and then Hannah's like, oh, it all makes sense now. No, girl, you realized that you ate and did your big one by saying that. You didn't call out Nick at all. If anything, Nick deserved to get more followers than you. And honestly, it's probably working out in his favor. It's probably working out in his favor, if anything. Like, if anything, it's working out in Nick's favor. I'm also going to move on to Garrett's interview. So now you have Garrett basically speaking on an interview. I don't know if he's with Taylor or not, but I didn't see him with Taylor in this TikTok. And basically, he's in the interview and he's basically saying how, like, the hate, let me try to see if I could like pull it up because this is a mess. This is a mess. In the next video, I'm gonna do another video where I'm getting on to We Have the Receipts podcast with Tyler. Did you guys see that? We have the Receipts podcast with Ashley speaking on it and being like, oh, like I don't want to listen to like a fake TikTok journalist. And I was like, oh my god, like that, like I was just like, so you're really trying to bully Storytime with Ricky and Jesse Wu? Like, I don't understand. But let me just pull up this TikTok. Where is it? Because I know I liked it. Okay.
Give everyone grace for reacting the way they did, but at the same time.
So basically, Garrett on this interview says that attack on Nick was performative and Nick is patient and was actually attracted to Hannah. This goes to show that like a lot of women on this show will always try to gang up on a guy just to get a big moment on TV, on national television. I'm just like, was this planned? Like, was this planned all by the girls to like make a whole big dramatic scene in the reunion? Because I'm just like, for Garrett to basically like confirm that like the attack on Nick was performative, it goes to show that like half of people in this season were not on the show for love. Why is it that one of the people as a married couple has to say that this show, like, people were performative? I'm just like, to me, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I'm just kind of flabbergasted because I'm just like, I really thought like people were mature this season and like they would kind of act accordingly this season. And it's just like, for a bunch of girls to gang up on Nick, why are y'all ganging up on Nick when we have Tyler with the 3 kids, when we have Ramses who basically like did his big one and like rejected Marissa? Like, it's just like, why are you guys ganging up on Nick when he's literally like not even the biggest villain? Like, you guys are ganging up on this guy for calling Hannah a grenade when you had Steven, who was in a sleep test, who basically cheated on Monica and quit his job for the show. Like, Steven quit his job for the show and then cheated on Monica during the show emotionally over text messages. So I'm just like, who is really the biggest villain? Like, who is really the biggest villain? And it's just like, y'all could literally go hard on somebody else. I'm just like, for all you guys to sit here up in the reunion and to really just like, just bash Nick like this. Nick is like one of the nicest guys. So it's just like, it's just very frustrating for all of you guys to just kind of just like one up on him. Even Monica even Monica, I think even Alex. Like, are you guys serious right now? Did you guys, like, it's just like for y'all to just literally go gang up on Nick when literally Hannah, and it's like Marissa was basically saying how like, oh, Hannah, yeah, she was also a bad person for being abusive to you, because I really hated that for her as my best friend. Girl, if you hate that for her as your best friend, why are you still best friends with her? Like, why are you still best friends with her? And then for everybody to go chime in along with Hannah and basically one up against Nick, like, for that to be the biggest scene is kind of crazy to me. I'm just like, so the nicest guy. I'm just like, why was also Nick and Vanessa, like, you had Nick Lachey, you had literally like the reunion host literally like also going on with what Hannah's saying. I'm just like, is this because Hannah's gonna be on Perfect Match, so they're trying to give her like a good edit at the reunion now to like set her up for like Perfect Match? I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense at all. Cause I'm just like, for everybody on that stage except for Garrett and Taylor to yell at Nick like this, it's like, I feel bad for Nick, because I'm just like, Nick has already been through so much by this abusive woman, and then for Nick to have to literally go through more women getting up on him again, it's just like, wow, like, that's just kind of wild to me. I'm just like, I really thought that like you guys would actually like maybe stand up for Nick and be like, no, like, Hannah, like, you were abusive to Nick, let's give Nick some grace, like, of like how much he's gone through because of you. Also, Nick was trying to work through the relationship, and also now for her to confirm that like Nick thought that like Hannah was actually attractive, like, it's just kind of just like, y'all women are liars. Like, some of y'all women are liars, okay? Like, yes, he might have been like, okay, like, yeah, she's a 5 out of 10, but it's just like, at the end of the day, Nick was literally trying to like, what is it? He was trying to work through this relationship. And it's just like, for all the women to like go sit up here and gang up on this guy, it's like, y'all actually are the biggest clout chasers. I'm just like, if you guys really were on the show to find love, you guys would have made a mature move like Garrett and been like, hey guys, like, let's just stop arguing about this, let's just move on. And you had even Nick and Lachey, Lachey, Vanessa Lachey saying like, yeah, like, you guys, like, let's wrap this conversation up, let's wrap it up, come on. So it just goes to show like that, like, people really are like trying to like, you know, calm this reunion down. And it's just like, okay, like, why does Garrett have to be the bigger person in this? Why did Garrett have to be the daddy of this whole like season? Like, why is Garrett having to be like the whole big person? Be like, hey guys, like, let's like pipe it down. My throat, oh my god! But for Garrett to basically have to like calm you guys down, and then for you guys to just sit here and just keep on. If Garrett wasn't on this reunion, nobody would have stopped this. It's kind of just like dramatic for me. I'm just like, okay, like, all y'all are just like yelling at him, and it's just like he doesn't have a say in anything. It's like Nick doesn't even have anybody to defend him. I'm just like, y'all, like, nobody couldn't defend this guy. Nobody wasn't able to defend even Steven. You even had Steven like confirming that like what Nick was saying was actually true. I'm just like, y'all, like Nick is really not that big of a villain this season. I'm just like, y'all are actually really high school bullies. Y'all are super, like, this is why I titled my video Suburban High School Spoilers. Like, it's because it's just like, you guys are really big bullies. You guys are extremely big bullies. I'm just like, for y'all to just sit up here and yell at this man, it's like you guys are the biggest clout chasers of like this franchise. I'm just like, y'all are just clout chasers now. Y'all are clout chasing. Cause it's just like, why did y'all need to do all this? Why did y'all have to go through this? Like, why did you guys have to like gang up on him? It just wasn't fair. If you guys really like were genuine people, you guys wouldn't be getting up on Nick. You guys would actually be like no, and Hannah, like you were actually abusive to Nick. Nobody holded Hannah accountable when it came to like this whole Hannah and Nick situation. Nobody holded Hannah accountable when it came to her literally yelling at Nick. And it's just like Hannah being like, oh, I'm just direct. It's like, no, like you're actually just mean. I mean, like you could like tone your, like you could kind of tone it down a bit. You could find a better tone maybe. And I'm like, I know it's hard to like, you know, try to like change yourself when it's like you're kind of like, you are a direct person and you're a blunt person. But it's just like, if you know you were kind of like a blunt person, like a person who was like just super direct, why come on this show when you know like you were going to be portrayed as like a negative Nancy then? It's kind of just like, okay, Hannah, like you're being mad for like having a bad edit and it getting a good edit. But it's just like, no, like, Hannah, like you have a mean personality. So it's just like, okay, you're gonna get a bad edit. So for all these women to go sit up here and like do this to Nick, I'm just like, Nick was the nicest guy on stage and y'all couldn't even give him respect. Y'all literally had to bully him continuously. And I hope that Marissa apologized to Nick for like chiming on with Hannah and like getting up on Nick with Hannah. To me, that's just so abusive. Like all these women this season were just bullies. Like the woman and even Jessie Wu was saying this on her YouTube channel. The women this season were just very, very mean. I get it. Yeah, y'all, like these guys on this reunion, like they weren't really all that. But like, y'all didn't have to be so mean. It's like all the women this season were like one of the most meanest people I've ever seen on this Love Is Blind franchise. Like you guys were mean this season. Like you guys were very, 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 very mean this season. I don't know. But the women this season, y'all are bullies. That's all I have to say for this video today. I'm going to make another video tomorrow probably about the whole Ashley being on podcast as well. I'm going to make another video about that whole Ashley and Tyler situation. But make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, and I will see you on my next video. And also hit the notification bell, and I'll see you on my next video. Toodles. Bye-bye.